Section 1.2, this time we're going to do number 57. So we set up this proportion when we did number 53. This time we're going to do number 57. It's a little messier with fractions here. So we have A, B, D, and E. So we're going to be using this piece of our proportion. I'm actually going to change my colors a little bit. That's going to be B now. And I don't need the C and F. So I'm just going to erase those and just focus on the A, D equals A over D is B equal to B over E. Okay, so our A is 5/3. Our D is 20/3. Our B is 1/5. And the E is the variable we are looking for. So I'm going to have some fractions in there, so I wrote them kind of small so I can write my big fraction bar. And this is my proportion with the numbers plugged in. So now to cross multiply. Actually, before I cross multiply, I want to look and see, can I simplify this? So on the left-hand side of this proportion, we have 5/3 divided by 20/3. Both those fractions have the same denominator. And there is something I can do. I can actually eliminate those. Okay, so I'm going to go off to the side here and say 5/3 divided by 20/3. That's kind of another way of writing this fraction. And when I do that, I flip the second and multiply. So 5/3 times 3/20. And what happens here, and this happens every time I divide two fractions with the same denominator, those 3's cancel. So I'm left with 5/20. So over here I have those 3's that just cancel and I get 5/20. So that's a shortcut to reducing those complex fractions that have the same denominator. The other thing I can reduce here is, let's use, I guess, purple. The 5 and the 20, they both have a common factor of 5. So I can reduce that to 1/4. And my final reduced fraction is just 1/4. So this fraction on the left, it looks ugly, but it reduces to 1/4. And on the left, I have 1/5 over E. So let's see what that could look like. I'm going to take this piece over here. 1/5 divided by, I'm going to write E as a fraction. And when I flip the second and multiply, I get 1/5E. So a little less complicated, and I get 1/5E here. And then when I cross multiply, I get 5E times 1 equals 1 times 4. Solving for E, divide both sides by 5, and I get E equals 4/5. And I'll use my units again, that's inches. There's my final answer.